Welcome back to the hilliest of dales for another casted game. On the North Hill this time in the purple we have Joseph as the Byzantines, and on the South Hill we have Rico de Cunha in the orange as the English, or I guess as he's playing English I should do it with a terrible London accent. Rico de Cunha in it. I'm also from London, so it's okay that I do that terrible accent, just so you know. But I'm really interested to see the scouting on this one. So you're going to be watching the scout vision and I'm going to be playing along at home. But the reason I really like this one is because on this particular map there are quite a few different ways you can scout around. So both of these guys are taking a slightly different approach. Rico is going for the up and over approach, where you go kind of down the middle and then you go over one side of their hill. So he's just going over there now, and then you get to kind of scout half of their resources. You get like the front and then you get one side. Because sheep tend to spawn around the edge of the hill, you also manage to nick some of their sheep as well, which is pretty decent. So we can see here that he's scouted out the stone and the gold, which means he knows that the deer and the berries are either at the back or on the other side. So obviously later on we'll find out exactly where they are. Now he's able to go back down the other side and he's going to get all of that sort of northwest edge of the map. Joseph, on the other hand, has gone for a slightly different approach, which is where you go kind of down the center, off round the side, and then down the opposite opponent's edge. So he's gone down and then down to that south side. Now he's actually on Rico's hill and he's trying to spread out the deer, which is really nice. This is going to cause Rico some problems if he decides to go out there. He is also English, so he may just decide to use farms and just completely forget about the deer. But oh no, the machine gun TC's going. Is he gonna get him? Oh, that's so close. 31 health left on that scout. So spreading the deer out like that is good, but if it means that you're not getting as many sheep, especially as the Byzantines, you definitely want to be getting more sheep in this matchup, because English don't really care about sheep as much. They can go for farms. It doesn't really cost them a lot of resources, so you're not really causing them too many issues. Also, I haven't mentioned it already, but Rico has a really great Twitch channel. He's just started streaming. He streams his team games and he plays with the people that are watching and stuff like that. And oh, here comes the scout getting his shank out, but there we go, back off to London to put that knife away. So A-jobs are coming through. Let's have a look at what they are both going for. So we've got the classic Byzantine winery on the back over here, so really far away from the TC actually. So this is probably what, 1, 2, 3, almost 4 tiles. So this could be this is an interesting play. It does mean he's going to maximize the groves at the front. It does mean that he can't get so many at the back, but I guess it doesn't really matter so much. But he's going to be getting the drop-off point there. So he's also going for a mill as well. I'm not sure what Joseph is doing here, because we'll go to Rico's base in a second, but as an ex-Byzantine main, this really baffles me, because the mill is basically the same as the winery. You don't want to gather the berries before you've got the winery up, because you lose out on the oil, because the berry gives you the bonus. It gives you the extra 60% oil. So gathering this up is actually hurting his economy, and he's going to age up in about 30 seconds anyway. So I really don't understand why you would spend the 50 wood and also lose out on the oil that you're getting from this bush, because you get 50% normally, but you get an extra 60 on top of that afterwards. So you are actually losing quite a lot of oil, which maybe it's for a special timing he's worked on. Maybe he knows something that I don't, but I would never have done this as a Byzantine main, because you're basically just wasting resources. If you don't go for the winery, on the other hand, then I can understand going for the berries early if you go for Hippodrome because you want to get the oil in. But interesting. We'll have to see exactly what he's up to and where he's going to put his second cistern. We can see the mercenary house is being dropped already, maybe a little bit preemptive, because he's not actually going to be able to get the mercenaries out by the time this is built. Also, he's on sheep instead of all of his villagers on berries, so I really don't know what's happening over in the Byzantine base. But on the English side, it's much more understandable. We've got Abbey of the King coming up, and so His Majesty King Charles II is in queue, ready to go and ruin the Byzantines' day. Now we can see we've got a lot of villagers on stone. I am also putting it over to this. I know I keep forgetting, guys. I apologize. I'm trying to remember to switch it to villagers, but so many things going on. I'm sure you can forgive me. So Looks like Rico's going for the King 2 TC, which I think is really nice. Obviously, this timing is not too bad, so obviously we've got a little bit of idle time here. We can see the villagers are hanging around, so this is a bit like on the board that there's only so many spaces around the tree. So that's why when you're sending all your villagers over, one thing that you can do is you can shift click to the different straggler trees. He's obviously gathered all of those up already, but shift clicking it round means that when there's a guy like this, then they will shift over. The same as they do on berries or anything else, they will move on because there's no space left over there. But King Charlie is out, and he's going to be going and giving the Byzantines a little bit of a poke. But we do see the cistern come up here, which I don't mind that placement. I think this front one is okay. It gets the gold. So personally, this one I would have stuck a little bit further forward, because you only actually need it to be just within the range of the gold as long as they hit it whenever they're dropping off. So actually could have gone a couple of tiles forward and got a bit more wood. But this back one, again, it's okay, but it's not really getting all the berries. So a lot of these guys, they've lost a lot of oil, and they're also not getting buffed by the cistern. So this is a really weird choice. I personally would have literally chucked this right against the winery and then definitely guaranteed that, because the D you can push in doesn't really matter, and it doesn't cover anything else really. But, you know, what do I know? So Charlie comes in, he's giving them a little poke. Is he going to get the kill? No, he's pulling away. This is a good choice, because I think a lot of people get a bit too greedy with the king, and that idle time on 5 villagers is really nice. Now it looks like from the macro we've got 6 on gold. One of them is shifting away to safety, and we've gone for the Keshiks. So this is a slightly different cataphract build, I'm guessing, than what I've seen. So this also makes the system placement a little bit stranger, because you want to make sure that you can put your other cistern in a really nice place. Lovely TC position here from Rico. I like this. Taking the scout out. Is the sheep going to come in? It's not quite within the TC range to be pulled in, but I quite like this. This is nice. It's going to defend that gold up nicely, so he doesn't really need a tower, and we've already got a barracks going down. Now this is the correct response to the cataphract build. So we can see these Keshiks coming across, and I would expect we should see 4 Keshiks probably by the time that they start aging up to castle. So we want to keep an eye on these guys. We can see that Rico's also walled in here. No gates, so he's not going to be able to run out of here if he needs to, so definitely would have got that on there. But these Keshiks are going to really struggle to find damage, and against the English, this is actually quite hard for Joseph, because under these 2 TCs, you can garrison lots of villagers and they shoot even faster. So the Keshiks are not going to be able to find that much damage. Looking at the macro, we're quite heavy on wood, so it looks like we are trying to go to the castle age, but the Keshiks coming in, trying to get a hit on the king, that's really not going to do them any favours. But thinking about it, all of these units actually heal. The king obviously heals in the range of the Abbey of the King, and it heals itself, and the Keshiks heal every time they hit, which is pretty good. So let's have a little look at where the other cistern's going. So again, this system placement I just find a little bit odd. Again, maybe it's that time of day. I can't quite tell what 10-head play Joseph is playing at. But also, when you're doing this cataphract build, you expect to have a lot more on gold at this stage. You don't really want to be. You probably want to use all of your wood villagers actually, rather than those ones. But you're getting the stables up, which is good. So we can see he's working on that. But this isn't really covering anything that we didn't have already covered. So to be honest, you could have even chucked it like here, and it probably would have gone down and got those 2 resources down there. I don't know, but he's obviously thinking more about the the cataphracts than anything else. He's also gone immediately for a monk, which means he doesn't have the gold to get a cataphract out, which again, a little bit odd. But obviously we can see Rico isn't falling for the deer ploy over here, and he's starting to build up his spears. Now this is interesting from Joseph. So he's going and getting the relics, which is a good choice. I think it's obviously good for your eco, but if you're going to be rushing castle, the idea is usually to try and get some sort of benefit from it. So if I can have a look, I don't think he's got the upgrade to his mercenaries, which means his Keshiks are still in the feudal age, so they're also not going to be packing any more punch. Rico has also walled up this side, so his base is going to be pretty well defended for the time being, and he's going to be able to very calmly add in some farms and move his way up to the castle age. So I also don't know why you'd go for specialized pick at this stage. You do have a lot of villagers on there, but you want to be getting those cataphracts out. So this, I think, is a bit of a misplay from Joseph. Definitely with this kind of timing attack, you need to hit them immediately. It's kind of like going for the Burgrave Palace as HRE and then just leaving the men-at-arms outside your base for like a minute, if that makes sense. The whole idea of doing this kind of play, if we shift around here so we can see the action, the whole idea is that you can make the most of it and you can damage them because cataphracts are really tanky, they're heavy units, they don't need any upgrades, so you're in a really, really good spot. But like, for example, you've got 6 Keshiks on the field, and they haven't been upgraded, and this only takes 30 seconds, so that should have been the first thing. I would have rather had that rather than the relics, and putting them in here is really not the idea of the cataphract build. So when I've seen Jiggly doing it, also the beastie build as well, you generally want to put your relics in monasteries because that gives you extra gold income, because cataphracts are so expensive. So if you see here, they're like 150 a pop, so that's really, really bad. But we've only got a couple of spears here. This could potentially actually be a little bit of a misplay here from Rico, because these Keshiks are still feudal, so at the moment he's not getting out macroed, out microed, whatever you want to call it, so it's not castle Keshiks against feudal spears, but there's only one spear, so as soon as a cataphract makes its way over and starts gulping, then he's going to be in a bit of trouble. So rushing this landmark up with 27 of 53 villagers, you literally, it's throwing everything but the kitchen sink at this one. White Tower is going up, and now this is where Joseph has lost his immediate advantage. So look at that, the Keshiks, they're gulping but still just about making it out there. So do we have the auto gulp? Let's double check. We do. Nice. So he's definitely got that, but now all Rico needs to do is just make crossbows. As soon as he's got spears and crossbows, he's got his spears upgraded, then he's going to be living his best life. So we want to be seeing these upgrades. I'm going to shift over here. We want to be seeing these upgrades coming in pretty sharpish, and we want to be seeing crossbows coming out of the White Tower immediately, because as soon as there's a bit of a cataphract mass, these guys, Joseph's playing a dangerous game here. He should be diving with these immediately. He should be doing it now. He should be gulping manually with the ones that are low health, and he wants to be running straight into this eco, because the whole idea of this build, if you haven't seen it, is to idle the economy. So you basically want to get to the castle age as quickly as possible while harassing with Keshiks to slow down your opponent, and then you want to idle up their economy as much as possible, because the cataphracts are super tanky, and unless they get loads of spears and crossbows, they can't do anything. So at the moment, Rico has one spear. There's nothing he can do about this. Obviously, he's got the TCs and White Tower, which make his life a little bit easier, but really against this many cataphracts, he could idle up this economy, and that means the Byzantine economy is going to be really pumping, because if you have a look, he's actually pretty strong at the moment. So going for these houses to try and pop cap Rico, I'm not sure that's the right play, because fighting under the White Tower like this, see the cataphract there, even though it's gulping, just got taken out by the crossbows and by the White Tower. You don't want to be fighting here when you could be round the back. You could be idling up this eco, you could be hitting the TC from this side. So yeah, not sure I like this one. Getting all of the relics, we can see that Joseph's got 4 now, which is really good from getting to the castle age, but his food is now starting to lag behind a little bit. So he's got a lot of gold. We can see he's already shifted out somewhere else to gold. He's moving down here, so again, the cistern up here could have been really, really nice. There's another cistern that's gone here, which actually doesn't cover anything, so I definitely think this cistern placement is going to be hurting Joseph's economy, because if you're going to be moving down here and you need food, why not stick the cistern here? Because also one thing to remember if you don't play the Byzantines is that these cisterns, they have different levels. So it's 10% to start, and then I think, if I remember correctly, it goes up by 4. So if we see this level 3, there we go, yeah. So level 1's 10, then 14, then 18. So here we go, let's check this out. So spears coming in, they're taking out these units slowly but surely. The cataphract mass is building, but obviously the English also get the attack speed bonus from the network ability that they have. So these crossbows are going to be doing extra damage than they usually would. But basically what I was trying to say about the cistern is you get 10% from 1. So yes, if you put the cistern down here, for example, like literally here, you would only get 10%. And if you don't connect it, that's fine. But you get nothing at the moment. So having 17 of your villagers with 10% gather rate is massive, massive. So that's, and whereas this one, yeah, it's giving an extra 4% to all of the other villagers, but when it's like a quarter of your economy, you really want the system to cover those. So yeah, not sure I'm happy with that, but as you can tell, I'm missing playing Byzantines, so seeing system placement like this makes me a little bit sad. But you know, we're going to move on. We're going to look at the mass that's building for Rico here. So we've got a villager building up the walls, we've got spears on the backside, a little ploy on the castle on the side here, trying to get us around. Nice little pinch movement there from Rico, trying to get on top of them. Cataphracts obviously have got the mobility. Let's check back on Joseph's side. Does he have? He still doesn't have his veteran upgrade. Oh, Joseph, please, you've got the gold, mate. So this is hurting him so much. He's also got enough to get some more Keshiks. That's another thing, because Rico now, he is living his best English life. He's on farms, he's ignoring the deer and just building farms around them. He's having an absolute ball. His food eco is absolutely insane, and he's going to need to be shifting out onto gold ever so soon, because this one is going to run out, I believe, before long. So he's going to have to secure that somehow. The spawn hasn't favoured him because all of the gold is actually at the front. So it looks like Joseph might be trying to starve him out a little bit. We have got this one, which could be walled in relatively easily. So there's one big one there that he can get. But apart from that, he's going to be struggling a little. If we take a little look, also with these, you've got the mobility. Even if Joseph here took all of the Keshiks and attacked from one side, and then took all of the Cataphracts and attacked from the other, then Rico's going to have to do something. He's going to have to go from one side or the other. I also think from Rico, this mixed composition here, I'm not sure I'm a fan of it, because really, in this position, all you need to do is make spears and crossbows. Like, I've played against this a few times, and you know, not quite at this level. These guys are solid diamonds, and I'm, you know, working my way up there. But with this build, if you make spears and crossbows, you counter literally everything they have. Yeah, you might need a bit of a front line, but the spears also do that anyway. So basically, if you just go mass spear crossbow, and especially with English ones, they are better. So just literally pump those boys out, especially with this economy, and then just walk over them. Like, they can gulp, they can do what they want, they have to run away, and then literally you have all the infantry, a couple of rams, and then you're in their base. So, and then you could also deny these resources out here. You could deny the boar, you can deny the gold, and then you can start working on towers and keeps and stuff like that to secure up these map resources, because it looks like Joseph is really going for the mass up play. He's not gone for this relic for some reason. He's got 4 of 5, but his eco is looking pretty strong for gold, whereas Rico's is very strong for food. If they had each other's food and gold together, that would be like the ultimate. So we've got a couple of raiding units, a couple of horses running by the front, Joseph's units just completely ignoring those, and all of his eco techs are coming in, as well as military techs. So this is going to be where his eco is going to start building and building, but he's only on 1 TC, remember. So with the relics, with the olive oil that you get from putting them in the winery, also I'm guessing he's put the other ones in monasteries. Where are we? There we go, 3 in the monasteries for that gold income. He can compete against 2 TC for a time, and I think we're just about to get to the stage where he's not going to be able to compete that much longer, because the villager difference, it's an extra 30%, no, an extra 50% of his villagers on top as Rico's. It's like, you know, 30, 60, you know, we don't do maths over here, so I'm going to stop pretending. But all of this food eco set up nicely. We can see that Rico's got his horticulture, his wheelbarrow, he's getting all of his military techs as well, and he's just starting to pump units. And if we take a look at the production, we've got 2 merc houses and 2 stables on one side, and then on the other side we've got 6 barracks, 3 stables and 3 archery ranges, as well as the White Tower, which also produces units faster as well. So this is going to allow Rico to use his economy much more effectively. He's obviously absolutely killing it with the food, because English farms are insane, and once he gets this wall up, he's going to be able to, with this crowd of people being chased by Mr. Wolf, he's going to be able to very quickly go into all of these gold heavy units. But it looks like we're going for the big push. The Cataphracts have decided that there's no longer any point just sitting around outside the base, but look at that. There we go, the gulp's gone. And this is something interesting also to remember with this build, is the gulps are limited. So if we take a little look, Can we see how many gulps he's got left? It refills. It doesn't say how many. Oh, that's a shame. So when you're playing, there are a limited number of gulps, and then they refresh every 30 seconds or something like that. But also, the units that have used them can't reuse them. Oh, there we go, 15. So, okay, great, 15. We got 25 cataphracts, 26 cataphracts. So even if they were all full health, you can't use it on all of them. So basically, half of them would just get decimated and just die. Or the Keshiks, which still don't have the Castle Age upgrade, would take the gulp. They would die anyway, and then that's the gulp ruined. So I think this is massing up like this with the cataphracts. I just think it's like French just massing up knights in one place and not moving around. I'd love to see a little bit of raiding going on, because he doesn't know that Rico's out on the stone over here, he's on the gold over here. If the cataphracts literally pushed in this direction, all of these villagers would have to run for their lives, and that's what you want to be doing in any game, basically. So we can see here that Rico is doing a really nice job. Just a couple of horses going around checking the resources, seeing what's happening, trying to catch some reinforcements. Is he going to get the mangonel? Is he A-moved? It doesn't look like it. They're not A-moved. Oh, so they've just run past. Oh, dear. So this is where if these guys were A-moved, they would have actually hit the mangonel. So the mangonel looks like it's trying to get the walls down. So obviously in the recent patch, mangonels have got extra building damage, which is really nice. Rico also trying to move within the range of the network. So we can see here the network of citadels. Let's not bother looking at the percentages, because the percentages in the descriptions are bugged and are wrong, and we're just not going to pretend we can do that maths. But the network is good. Network good, out of network bad. That's the idea. So King is about to get absolutely slapped by cataphracts and these guys. So this is where you can see, look at the power. Cataphracts are incredible. They're amazing units. In these numbers as well, they're very, very scary. But Rico has the counter, so what's going to happen with this flood? It looks very favoured to the English, but with this build you never know, because those cataphracts are so tanky. He's got his teardrop shields, which gives him that extra armour. I think it's 2 melee, 2 ranged. We've got crossbows on the back. We've got mangonels focusing on the spears and not on the crossbows. That's Joseph, come on. But the cataphracts have pushed through, and they're going to be getting on top of those. If these mangonels could just take out these ranged units, then they would be in such a good position. Spears trying to go on the back, and Joseph being really bold and going for the gold right outside his base. So that was actually a really nice fight for Joseph, but he's gonna have to find a way to push that advantage. So he's got his religious units coming to heal up on the back, but he's fighting under the white tower now. Trample coming in, but oh, those cataphracts are not gonna make it, and I think he's just thrown away that army, the one he's been massing up the whole game. Oh, that's such a shame, and he doesn't have any siege to take out the white tower. So now more reinforcements are coming out, and this is where the difference in production does make a big difference, because look how quickly Rico's able to reinforce. He's getting on top of those mangonels so that his ranged units don't get stopped again, and then there's all these villagers ripe for the picking with these lancers and the spears that are going to make their way across. All those gulps have been used up, so there's no more of that coming. So those cataphracts are getting healed up slowly by these scholars, but that's just not going to do it, and now those villagers are going to have to run away as all of those units are getting taken out. Some archers on the back now to try and take out those spears, but again, there's not enough of them, and so we got some more English knights as Joseph calls it. So the English beat the cataphract build even with the gulp. So I hope you've enjoyed this one. Check out Rico on Twitch, and I'll see you next time for some more casted games.